Servus and hello, here's Bianca K. Linger from Austria, but here you are in my American apartment in Georgia because here at Agnes Scott I'm working as a German FLTA and Fulbright Austria sent me here. Thank you, by the way. And today I also want to talk about Fulbright, since some people actually asked me about tips and stuff, so I thought, why not make a video about that? So if you're interested in my 3 main tips with specific examples, keep watching. Number 1, check the requirements. I thought we could see that better. Okay, anyways. So first, definitely check out the website and see what they do require from you. So okay, I give you an example here. For instance, for my program, it was the case that you really would have to have really good English skills, and that also any degree in teaching and education was an advantage. I had both, meaning, well, if I'm good at English, that's kind of, you need to decide that, but I had my English teacher's degree that time, and which is basically almost similar to a master's degree. And I also did my internship, which is usually after the master's degree. But anyway, so I also had some teaching experience at the time already, and I knew that in this respect I would definitely fulfill the requirements. But of course, you don't necessarily have to be a teacher. You can also get into the program with any other kind of degree. And so for instance, what I've seen in the requirements, or like something that would be favored, would also be if you have done any German courses on how to teach German. So if you're a German teacher, or we do have something in Austria where courses where you can actually study German as a foreign language, on how to teach it to foreigners. I never did any of these stuff, so I knew that could be kind of a disadvantage to me. So just make sure what kind of requirements are there, and then you already know kind of whether you would be able maybe to fulfill them or not. Number 2, decide early. My application deadline for the FLTA program was in fall 2017, and the program then actually started in August 2018. However, in between there were a couple of other steps where you get to know Fulbrighters and stuff, so there was already other things going on as well. Anyways, if you, for instance, apply for a master's program, then you would even have to apply earlier than that. At least in Austria, that's the case. I think they had to apply in spring already, so spring 2017, in order to actually go to the States in August 2018. So you really need to make up your mind early. Also, what I definitely think you have to keep in mind is, don't procrastinate the application and get close to the deadline and start when you're close to the deadline. I know that some people are really good at, you know, doing everything like in the last minute, but the thing is that you need recommendation letters. And honestly, I thought for me that was the most troublesome part of the entire application, because also I'm the kind of person, for me this is sometimes a little bit like, feels like begging, oh, can you please write me something on how good I am, you know. But it took definitely a lot of time until I got these 2 letters. So, and a lot of time texting back and forth and going somewhere and things like that. I mean, it might depend, maybe it's easier for you, but for me it really was a challenging part. And the last one, and I do think the most important tip for me, is be personal. So in my opinion, Fulbright is a lot about personality, and it's a lot about personal experiences. So really try to write a very personal essay. That's what I tried to do. So I would say like my heart got into this essay, and I invested quite a lot of time writing it. It was like about my personal life story that I tried to like pack in some kind of story. I mean, of course, I also said like why I would like to apply to Fulbright and what do I want to learn there, like, and what I have learned so far. So And when I'm saying like it's a lot about personality and experience, so I'll give you an example. I do think from all the Fulbrighters that I met so far, all of them are kind of in a way unique or have interesting life stories for that kind of age, I would say. And also all of them are kind of like self-confident. I'm not saying dominant, I'm just like, you know, they can live with themselves. But overall, I think that also personalities within those Fulbright people are also different, but I just think that's something all of them have in common, at least that's what I think. Do grades actually matter? I'm not sure, like I don't think it mattered a lot for me, or definitely like grades were probably not something that would have put me in favor of getting this Fulbright scholarship, because my grades are pretty much average. I do think what might have put me in favor actually was what I did in my life so far. So I've been a year abroad prior to that in the States. I've written a book, a fantasy book, which was not successful, but you know, I'm honest about that. Or at least not as many people bought it, so well. Anyways, and I've been like dormitory speaker for 2 years total. So I guess that's something that made me a little bit different to other applicants maybe. And that's definitely something that worked in my favor, I would say. Also, of course, age I do think makes a difference. So for instance, 4 years ago, I went with another program to the States with the ISIP program, and I'm pretty sure that I would have never gotten into the Fulbright program. I even actually attended a Fulbright seminar that time with other Fulbrighters, and then I was like, they called us student at large, pretty much just like interested student, and I could really much see like all those Fulbrighters were already older than me, they had more experience, the level of English was way better than mine, and so I know, like, you know, I'm not the sleek yet, like I'm really not. But actually that was when the idea kind of already developed to one time maybe also try to apply to Fulbright. But I do think that also age actually makes a difference. You know, if you're 21, you might not have that much experience than someone who is 27. But of course it depends. If you only done the same thing throughout your entire life, well, I don't know. I don't know, it really depends. I mean, I can't say I'm not a decision maker, it was just my general impression. And I also do think, honestly, what might have also worked in favor of me was the background. So I personally think that if you have any kind of different cultural background, or for instance in my case, well, I don't have any different cultural Austrian background than anyone else probably, but so I come from a working class background. So my dad is a roofer and my mom is a housewife. I mean, I don't know if this made any difference, but I do think very often if you apply for programs that can work in favor of you, because it's just simply still the case, although in Austria we still have like theoretically all the same chances, it's still the case that usually whose parents already have like a higher educational degree, their kids are just more likely to have a higher educational degree as well than kids from a working class background, for instance. And so yeah, if you have a background like that, I mean, you can make it work in your favor for sure, I do think. I also do think that when you have done something for a community service is really something that Fulbright, in my opinion, cares about. So doing something for other people too, not only yourself. I feel like the whole Fulbright vision kind of surrounds the idea of like being a cultural ambassador on the one hand, but also what impact can you make as an individual to improve our today's society. So that's at least the vision that I think Fulbright has. So, and if they give you a scholarship, I think it's a sign that they do believe in you. And of course, okay, there is another thing I need to mention. Like all these tips, I do think are valuable, but of course it might also depend on your competition. So you can, for instance, do the math. I know in some countries there is much more fierce competition than in other countries. And I can give you an example. So hopefully I'm not telling you something wrong. I didn't look it up anymore, but I'm pretty sure about that. Fulbright in Germany almost takes as many people as Fulbright Austria does for the program, for at least their German FLTA program. And well, if you consider Germany's population, it's 10 times more than Austria's. So chances in Austria to get into this FLTA program are actually probably higher than it would be for you in Germany. Or I've also heard from Chinese people. So in China, honestly, I probably wouldn't think that I would get with a normal teaching degree without being at university into the Fulbright program, because from what I heard, it's very competitive there. And in some other countries, maybe there are not even enough applicants. So it really, really depends also on your competition. But anyways, well, you can't really change your competition, but you can improve yourself, right? And if you don't get taken right away, well, maybe you can apply again if you really want to do that and gain some more experience, or do something for other people in the meantime, or improve your English. By the way, I mean, it makes sense when they get people who kind of know good English, because at least I didn't have to pay for my TOEFL test, for example. Yeah, so that was a good thing. Okay, anyways, I hope these tips were helpful. So just keep in mind to check the requirements, maybe do some math if you have realistic chances, and then decide really early. And number 4, be personal. Maybe the most important thing. Be honest and personal. Okay, I hope this was useful to you. If it was useful, please give me a thumbs up or subscribe. I'm working on more videos in English right now. Thanks so much for watching. See you!